Hi, and welcome to my first video in the year 2025. My name is Lena Perez. I'm a psychologist and systemic therapist, and I would like to share with you my interest in Asian literature. And during this year, for each of the books that I will present, I will take one of the characters and I will discuss if this person were to or decided to take a therapy session, what will be the subjects or the topics that could be discussed during the sessions, and also what could I recommend in these kind of situations. For this year, to begin with, I decided to comment this book. I Want to Die, but I Want to Eat tteokboķki from the Korean author Baek Sehee. She studied publishing, and the way that is described in the book, she was working, and it came a moment where she thought that she has been struggling a lot with depression and anxiety and decided to begin a therapeutical treatment. What I like from the book is that is the perspective of a client, a patient that goes through all this process. And during this process, she describes how she realized about the pattern that she follows and how difficult it is to break this pattern and change behavior. That is a question that many patients ask during the therapeutic process. There is always a lot of space to make some insights and reflect and think about what I do this, or how can I explain that I take certain decisions. And in each sessions, it's always the question, well, now that I have all this knowledge, that I gather all this information, what do I do, or how could I exactly change the things that I have been doing until this moment. I like it that from this it's a very different book from other books or novels that we are used to find in the market. For instance, it comes to my mind Yalom as a therapist. He has been reading a lot of novels and also books with short stories where he makes a portray of a session, a therapeutical process with people in an individual setting, and some novels in the group setting, and explains from the therapist perspective what's going on. Another example is Lori Gottlieb with the novel Maybe You Should Talk to Someone. And in all these books, novels, or short stories, we see the perspective of the therapist. In contrast to it, we have I Want to Die, but I Want to Eat tteokboķki. And we find here the perspective of a patient, a client that is saying, okay, that's what I have been doing during all my life and how I change it. That is a question that people ask a lot, and how the therapist said in the book, well, she has been following certain patterns. It has to do with a low self-esteem, but also with having an idea of the way she should be, like an idealized way with a very, very high expectations. On one side, what she expects from herself, but also the thinking how other people could expect from me and deliver at the same level in order to achieve this ideal. During the book, she's confronted with this pattern over and over again, and she brings different examples in different situations, sometimes with family members, sometimes with colleagues or new friendships. And the therapist always said that it is important, in order to change behavior, to start doing small things in a different way and using also a different perspective. In the sessions, there is also time to open up to this new perspective, and it's like a decision of the patient to find a place or an interaction and pick up among all the things that you do in your daily life, just to try exactly to do something in a different way. Well, I was very excited to see the way a therapist works in Korea with a subject. So I thought that there is a difference with the way that therapists work in Germany. From one part, we are talking that this person is a psychiatric, and he always have this perspective of working with a disorder, putting a name on it, explaining what it's about, and because he's a psychiatric and had before doing the specialization finished studies as a doctor, it is allowed for him to prescribe also medication. In Germany, sometimes some psychiatrists they can do that because they finished the specialization, but also did this professional formation as a therapist. So when patients go to them, have the chance to do both. In my experience, when I work with different clients, what they report is that they go to the psychiatrist for the medication, but unfortunately, the way the health system works right now, there is like very little space to talk about the problematic and all the symptoms, and that's why it is necessary important to take a therapy with a psychotherapist and not with a psychiatrist. But in this case, and at least the way that it is described in Korea, there is this possibility, like a psychiatrist also can offer the psychotherapist. Please don't get me wrong, in Germany it's different, but it could be also the same. But as I said, like psychiatrists are more concentrated in prescribing medication. The other thing that was interesting for me to see is that during the sessions, the psychiatrist also was a little bit focused on the side effects of some medications, and then was possible for him to correct in different dosage, but also sometimes prescribing something different. He was also explaining a lot, or at least in one part, the differences among different kind of disorders. And she writes in this at that moment. Well, I was listening to it, but I don't really was into it. It's not my interest. Also, when I work with some clients, and there is also part of the therapy, just give information and talk about different disorders. And some people they don't really are interested in listening to it. What they look is specific tips, or they want to get in depth into the situation that they bring at the moment. So the therapists have to adjust in those cases, and the priority is to listen to what the people are bringing. I also thought when I was reading the book that I found really brave from this psychiatrist, that he gave consent to record the sessions. At least what is in the first page of the book is that Baek Sehee could record around 12, well, no, sessions during 12 weeks, and she decided to edit it in the way that was more convenient for her, and the psychiatrist didn't interfere in this process. On the contrary, he only got to reach when the at least the last draft was completed. I find it brave because when you are doing this professional formation as psychotherapist, in different institutes, you have to make a video of the sessions, and sometimes also an audio to discuss in the group and see, okay, what were the possibilities in the sessions, what should have been done, and learn from it. that's important during this learn process. Sometimes I think that it will be also for everyone, for patients, but also for psychotherapists to do this probably more often and exchange to the clients when they want to, when they agree to do it, and learn all the time from the process, not only with information, but also to understand, okay, what kind of changes going to be possible. I like it a lot that in this emphasizing of the change process is about behavior, and she was telling and repeating in almost every session how hard it is to do something different when you are used to judge other people because the way they look, or getting the information, what kind of university they graduated. They are like probably standards that you have in Asian countries, in this case in Korea. And then automatically you tend to people tend to judge the others according to this information. Well, it was a very nice experience, and it will be lovely to read other kind of texts, or maybe novels, or that is the other way around. It means that the client or the patient is telling, writing, describing this therapeutical process. At the end of the book, the author writes that she finished with the transcription and the selection of the sessions, the parts that she wanted to have in the book, and was waiting a couple of weeks and see if it was an effect on her. And she wrote, okay, I would like to write the grand finale, like I'm cured, everything is fine. And at the end, she wrote a text without this high expectation. It means also like when people see that because of disorder, they definitely need to change. Someone is affecting the state of mind, sometimes also the physical health, or the whole environment. Please be patient. It's a very long process, and it's possible to change little by little, doing baby steps. Well, my last comment, or the last part, it gets on what are they talking about? What is a tteokboķki? Well, I made a test here in Berlin. It was very, very difficult to find a restaurant that has tteokboķki in the menu. What I can say is that it's something really, it's very spicy, also a little bit sweet, made of kind of a form of macaroni, but like the full, also in the inside is you can chew it, which is like something like a mochi, more or less, but spicy, salty, and sweet because of the sauce. And I was reading that it's a very popular street food in Korea. You can find it everywhere, and students like it a lot. Probably because it's quite cheap compared with other kind of foods. And if you explore a little bit and Asian stores, there are some offers like an instant tteokbokkki. That's the picture from the time that I found it in a restaurant here. And I can also imagine that while you eat it, because you get really hot, it's a way of making you feel alive. And it could compensate this kind of a state that she describes all the time, where she says at the beginning of the book, well, I'm a person that I'm not really happy. And when I'm happy, I can just in a couple of minutes goes again into a deep depression, or I'm depressed, but people doesn't notice, and this is staying in between, which is really very uncomfortable. But when she eats tteokboķki, then okay, that's the feeling, I'm alive. Psychiatrist and at the end mentioned also how good that could be, and he said, so I will read it here from the book, what he writes. Even when the human heart wants to die, quite often wants at the same time to eat some tteokboķki too. So if you sometimes feel like feel down or in a bad mood, or really if you have very good reasons to be depressed, I would be glad if you write in this email what kind of food you would like to have at the moment to make you feel like happy, or make you feel again in a very good mood. If you want to share the recipe, I could also try it. See you next time with the next video, and thanks and bye.